hot.
Welcome, everybody, to the Mac and Main Show, Quarantine Edition number 3. We are so sorry that we were not able to be with you guys last week. Had to take a little bit of a content break, but we are back today. EK Plays and Joe LoGrippo are our special guests. Eric is here first. Joe will be joining us in the second half of the show. Eric, how is quarantine going, my man? Because, we haven't heard from you. We were planning on doing a 2-hour collab show with you and one of – it was going to be like 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., just running straight March Madness. Obviously, that got called off due to quarantine. But, Eric, tell us how you're doing, man. How's life treating you in the Kerr household?
Well, Jack, first of all, and Steve, too, thanks for having me on the Mac and Main Show again. I love being on with you guys and really appreciate the offer. Man, honestly, it's just, it's been kind of what everyone else is doing, just getting my work done, doing my thing. Having to spend a lot more time with my sister, so sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not so good. My dad actually is complained a couple times because both my sister and I have been staying up, really late. One time, at 2 o'clock in the morning, she just makes a whole batch of cookies. I walk downstairs. I get the huge whiff as soon as I leave my room, which is about 3 floors up too. So if I'm hearing it, if I'm smelling it from that far away, then she's baking something. So, and they were good. Of course, I had a couple cookies, but yeah, it's been good. But also been working on EK Plays a lot more too. So that's been big.
I want to plug that YouTube page. You just released a video of the top 25 YouTube basketball stars, and I was kind of upset because my little brother and I we watch more to make fun of him, but Flight reacts. He has the videos about look at Curry, man. But I was like, wait, bro, he's pretty nasty on the court though. I'm surprised you didn't add him in. That's my little 2 cents. But
I did put him in the thumbnail, but I think. If this list was made in June, Flight definitely would have been on the list. But sadly, it's April, so just a couple months out.
Go and check out EK Plays. Is it at EK Plays on YouTube?
It's it's EK Plays, EK space Plays on YouTube. Just type in EK Plays and you'll find it. Getting to 200 subs.
Absolutely, So
we're on the road.
So talking about we've had our guests on. We've had Jacob Resnick. We've had Will Fowler on. We've had
Pat
Pitts. Pat Pitts. I'm completely blanking on him. But ever since the quarantine kind of happened, obviously things have kind of derailed it in the world of sports. Now we got baseball wants to come back. The NBA is thinking about the playoffs, possibly because they're already that deep in of possibly having something. But in your eyes, we've been asking everyone this. Where do you think the state of basketball specifically, because basketball is your big thing, where do you think people are kind of looking at in terms of the playoffs, what Adam Silver's thinking about, just how the general thing is and what the NBA is doing to kind of counteract the quarantine?
Yeah, so I actually dug into this morning, and ESPN NBA insider Brian Windhorst actually kind of cleared up the misinformation. Basically, the NBA is going to do a 25-day plan where the first 11 days is going to be, working out at your home, but make sure you're still socially distancing from other teammates and stuff to kind of make sure the effects go down a little bit more. And then the next 14 days after that will be mini training camps. So 2 weeks they'll get back to doing workouts and stuff. But that's all we know. We don't really know when exactly they're coming back. We don't know exactly if they're going to jump into the regular season or go in the playoffs. So that's kind of the big thing. Adam Silver hasn't really closed anything. Personally, in my opinion, I think that the NBA should just go straight to the playoffs. There's only 17 games of the season. And even though there is some battling going on for the bottom 2 seeds of each conference, I think at this point, with so much time being delayed already, you got to just jump into the playoffs. So that way the next season doesn't get delayed in itself. So I think that should be the best plan going forward. Granted, I'm not the GM. I'm not on the Silver. I can't make a decision, but we'll just have to see what happens.
One thing that was kind of said, LeBron James was we need about 2 weeks of games before we are prepared for the playoffs. Basketball is definitely a game of momentum. And when you have a long layoff in the middle of your season, no less, do you think that it's fair to just go ahead and jump straight into the playoffs? Or do you think it is necessary to have a couple of games to get back into the swing of things?
That's a good question. before the regular season even starts, right? They have 2 like preseason games that they do along with the training camp sessions. So maybe they could do 2 regular season games before that, but I don't think there should be any more. That is a very good point. Basketball is all about momentum, and it sucks for the teams that were, really starting to get hot with their new system. Like the Houston Rockets are a great example of that. They were starting to get on a winning streak without having centers in their team, and the style was throwing everybody off. But now everyone's gonna have time to rest. They'll have time to figure out like strategies to how to handle different teams, and that same kind of style may not work in a few months or so when the NBA hopefully comes back in about June. So it's tricky. I think it should be like maybe no more than 2 or 3 regular season games, kind of what they do in the preseason. But I think if you just have more than that, the season's going to be more drawn out, and I don't think it's going to cut into the next season for sure. So that's just my take on it. But I do understand your point.
It's certainly going to be difficult too when it comes to with the playoffs starting up. Obviously, like you said, everything's about momentum. So having teams kind of just walk right into the playoffs, you have your teams up. It's going to be watching almost like an all-star game in the first game where it's just like it's lackadaisical. It isn't as energetic, where if you give them training, it kind of helps out. But actually, that kind of leads me to my next question with you. With baseball wanting to come back and possibly starting their season, obviously everybody, a sports fan in general, is having baseball fever. If the NBA comes back and they're running their season into June, possibly even July with the playoffs, do you think baseball might end up losing ratings, or will baseball take away ratings from the NBA in that case?
I think it's the first part of what you said, Steve. Basketball playoff season, like, come on. People typically want to watch the major competition at the end of the day. And that's no shade to baseball. I'm sure they'll still get their views like later on in the season because people are still going to be itching to watch baseball. But with that in mind, I still think that with a lot of those games being taking place at the same time, and this is even the case when like regular NBA playoffs are going on like in April and May when baseball is just starting to begin. So I don't think it'll be any different here. Everyone's going to want to watch playoffs, competitive atmosphere like playoff basketball is.
So one thing that is definitely going to be interesting to see if the NBA is able to return is, are they going to allow fans into the building? I gotta make it clear that on my opinion on the matter is that if you have a full-on playoff series where they go through all 4 rounds and there's no fans, I don't know how entertaining that's going to be to watch. Part of the fun of watching NBA playoffs is when a guy hits a clutch shot and the announcer goes wild, the fans are, throwing all their hands in the air, and you just feel the building just erupt. That emotion is it's not going to be there during the NBA playoffs this year. So do you think that there's going to be a playoffs without fans at all? Because it seems like there's not going to be any kind of fan gathering for a long time in any of the professional sports.
I mean, most likely that will be the case. But again, we don't really know what for sure the NBA is going to do, how serious is going to get, if the NBA has a playoffs. I mean, it sort of just depends on where everything's going to be. But, it will feel very weird. And that's just to be the same case with a lot of other sports. I wouldn't be surprised if baseball does the same thing. And, that takes away from the kind of the high energy atmosphere. But maybe, they can still find ways to do it without fans. Like they can still have like a loud PA system with like maybe like crowd noises in the back, something. I don't know. Just kind of like artificially make it better in some way. It'll be tricky, and it'll definitely be weird. But just have to see. See how it happens. It's gonna be interesting.
I know for me, looking at like going to Knicks games predominantly is there's the fan aspect, but then there's also the PA and the volume, the music. There's always music playing with basketball, unlike baseball, where it's the walk-up song and then it's just dead silence. And in that case, like we saw it when the Orioles played during the Baltimore riots, there was no noise whatsoever. You could hear the crack of the bat, everybody talking and everything. I feel like the NBA would be able to kind of counteract the idea of no noise with some sort of a music or something. Also, there's a good opportunity for the NBA to kind of capitalize on having more true reactions. I know we always laugh about on like House of Highlights when you have like Melo cursing players out for the rebound, or LeBron screaming when he's like mic'd up after a dunk. I feel like it's going to be a new opportunity for the NBA to kind of explore like really seeing these like raw emotions come out on the court when you literally have no one there and all you hear is the organ playing defense. You're kind of hearing the way players are thinking. You can kind of analyze the game a little more. it's going to be a new way of thinking, but again, that's only my opinion. The NBA might not end up capitalizing on that. It's truly on them, but there's a lot of different things that might end up occurring. My biggest question, though, is going to be the idea of home court advantage. Obviously, it's one of the biggest things in all sports. If you're Golden State, you're going to Golden State, and you're walking in the building, and you are their whole motto, strength in numbers. It's like going to Seattle for a playoff game in football and facing the 12th man. It's a whole new feeling now that you're going to walk into an arena. It's your hardwood, but there's no real support. How do you think that's going to play into the possible playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, all these guys are just trying to block out the noise regardless if they're home or away. But I think it will definitely, like, create a more, like, kind of neutral site kind of vibe, if you get what I'm trying to say. Maybe the series will go down to, instead of, like, having those home game advantages, it will go down to, who was the better team that played that day and who was kind of the better team that series. Because, at times in the playoffs, like, there can be – and basketball is a very frequent sport for this. There can be a lot of comebacks in a game. And a lot of those comebacks are fueled by the home crowds. So without that, maybe there'll be, if their teams are down a deeper hole at home, maybe the home court won't really help them that much anymore. So, but again, they're still shooting the same court as they always do in the regular season. So they'll still have that comfort kind of feel. But it'll be interesting for sure, Steve. I mean, we'll have to see if there's even really a factor there anymore if there's no fans.
So if there is a season, if the season ever does get back to it, the Lakers were the team to beat in the NBA. LeBron and AD were in the swing of things. And then over on the East side, of course, we had Giannis, but then the Celtics were right there. Tatum was was like entering some MVP conversations despite Giannis and LeBron kind of running away with those talks. If the NBA kind of resumes as is right now, who's your pick to win it all?
Ooh, that's going to be tough. I mean, you got to kind of look at the momentum side, see who's going to come in with a rhythm or kind of fall flat at the start. I mean, obviously the clear pick is, Lakers Bucks finals. I think both of those teams are very dominant in both their conferences. The West is a little tougher though. I mean, the Clippers can obviously have challenged the Lakers all season, so that's not an easy series if that happens. But yeah, I think definitely the Lakers are a good favorite. Obviously, come out of the West. The East, I think, is the Bucks show this year. There are some teams that can't compete with them. The Raptors, along with the Celtics, as you mentioned. But I think in the end of the day, the Bucks system is just very hard for teams to stop. There's no real answer in the East that can guard Giannis, except for maybe the Sixers. But they've been inconsistent all year, so it's tough to kind of gauge where they're going to be at if the season ends today with those standings, because they'll have a tough first-round matchup as well because they finished at the 6th seed. They'll have to go against the Celtics. So, yeah, that's kind of a prediction for right now. And that, I don't know. I think I'm going to have to go with the Bucks. I think they're a more complete team. I think LeBron and Giannis will be a great matchup. At the end of the day, I think, LeBron and AD, as good of a duo as they are, the Bucks will definitely – Mike Budenholzer, credit him, he's a very good coach. I think he'll find some good schemes to kind of slow that two-man duo down and make other people like Kuzma, KCP, Dwight try to beat them.
The 2K tournament is taking place now. Of course, we see on the professional sports side, we've seen MLB The Show is tournaments are taking place in MLB. Haven't heard anything from the NFL or the NHL, but the NBA is doing a 2K tournament right now. One of the more entertaining things to watch. Last night they did like an 8 game of horse or something like that.
Yeah.
I personally didn't tune in to watch, but Eric, what are NBA fans looking for right now in terms of content in their time off?
I mean, they're just trying to entertain themselves and find a way to entertain other people. I mean, the 2K tournament was great. I personally didn't get a chance to see any games, but I heard a lot of good things about it. It was cool that $1,000 that was awarded to the winner got donated to coronavirus relief efforts, because obviously it's a very important situation. It's good to put that on. And also it's just good to see the players like compete against each other in the virtual world. as we sort of expected, when we watched Pat Beverly in real life, he's a very high-endic, high-energy, and like trash-talking person on defense. And he shows the same thing in 2K as well. Like there were reports that saying he would like get in other people's like heads when he was up on them, like a big margin. He would talk a lot of trash. But then like he kind of simmered down when he was losing in games. When he lost that one game, he was like kind of getting a little mad. He didn't say much, so kind of out of his element in that regard. But no, it was cool to see all the guys like compete against each other like online for that thing. And it was also cool to see 2 Phoenix Suns players in the finals as well. You know, not many people know about the Phoenix Suns that much because their team isn't really that good yet. But 2 of the better players actually competed in the final championship game, and props to Devin Booker for winning it as well against his teammate DeAndre Ayton. So good atmosphere, love to see it. And also the horse tournament is good as well. Gets people outside, gets people shooting against each other, and it can be a little laggy outside with trying to record online, but it's still cool to see. And also it's cool to see a WNBA player win as well. Allie Quigley won against CP3, so big upset right there. But nah, it's all cool. It's good to see that they're having a good time and definitely trying to entertain the people in any way they can without actually being on the court.
I actually managed to tune in, and I watched a little bit of the Pat Bev versus DeAndre Ayton semifinal. And
Pat
dude,
Bev
man,
sounds like he kind of plays 2K like somebody we know.
John Surratt.
that man can run his mouth. I was like, you know, man, like props to you though for having that competitive edge from both on the court and virtually. I know, like for me, I play video games like I'm driving in traffic. Like I just get angry at literally everyone and everything. so I'm like
I used
ready
to do that too.
I'm standing up. I remember there was one point where Ayton's like sitting back, just kind of doing his thing, and Beverly's like standing up. You can only see like half his torso in the camera, and he's like standing up trying to play. I was like, man, this guy's absolutely wild right now. But no, that was a good time. I also hear that they want to do something related to if they could figure it out, they want to have kind of an all-star game for the best players who played in the tournament to kind of do an all-star game, select team style, do a 3-point contest and everything. If they can get everyone to kind of user a player within the game, that would be a pretty cool opportunity for the NBA to kind of to still keep on going. I was saying this last week on the show. My little brother was playing Jason Tatum. So again, Eric, do you have any other info on that?
Yeah, so I'm a huge 2K buff, number one game, and I think there is a way you can do like an all-star game kind of thing. There's a mode called All-Star Team Up where you can pick your character from both sides and then do like an East versus West like game where you can like pick any player you want. So I could definitely see like picking Kevin Durant playing for the Eastern Conference and then having like Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton play for the West on that side. So I think that would be a good thing for them to look into. I think that'd definitely be a good idea to have like maybe a 3-game series, like live stream kind of thing. I know a couple 2K YouTubers did that as well. And I think they would definitely look to maybe if the idea was spread around, they could definitely look to do that for NBA players as well. That'd be a cool idea.
My dad is singing in the background right now. I kind of want to know if you guys can hear him.
Not really.
I cannot.
Good. That's kind of that's the aspect I miss of being at WQAQ is that there, you know, we got the door to the studio, you know, everything is blocked out. Now all of a sudden we got these third elements. But Eric, you know, I've been playing you a little bit in 2K, man. You kind of got that nasty, you just like that on that grind mentality. I played you in 2K. I played John, and I've also played Jacob Resnick in MLB The Show. And I got to say, I am not very good at video games, which I guess, you know, I don't know if that means that I'm good at – I don't know if that means that I'm like I have a life outside of like virtual reality or if I'm just like that lame in that I can't play 2K and MLB The Show. So,
you know, some people are just born as gamers. Like they can go and just do anything else they want to. But other people, it's like, I can't do this. Like I know, for example, like Jared Penna is like the most awful gamer ever. Like he's good at one game. And it's like an old game for the Wii back in like 2009. He plays it all the time. He's really good at it. But every other game he sucks at. And he'll know. And if he's watching this right now, he'll know it too. So, but yeah, no, it depends on the person, really. But I'll get back to your John point too. I'll throw a little shade at him as well. Minus all the Patrick Beverly
let's throw shade at John.
Antics. John does kind of play like him because when he's up on you, he'll talk a lot. But when I played him and he was down almost the whole game, he didn't say a word. So
John is a one-sided player, bro. That's what I'm saying. I mean, like the Mac and Main YouTube channel exists. As if we can get some content on there, maybe we can get a little.
Yeah, I know Steve Media people was talking about like a tournament for video games in a while back.
We need to do it.
Try to bring it back up again.
Big things coming.
If I can get the new show and the new 2K, because I still have last year's 2K, I could try and get them going. I'm a decent gamer. I want to play both of you guys if you can. Do you guys play 2K on? Is it 19 or 20? Or no, 20.
We're on 20.
We play 20. It's on PlayStation. It's only like $20.
Yeah,
really
the hack for Madden and 2K is you got to buy it on Black Friday because they're both half off.
Exactly. Now, honestly, if I end up buying it, I will absolutely play both of you, and I'll smoke both of you guys too. Because I'm dirty at video games. Because clearly I'm not athletic in real life. But Eric, one last thing before I let you, Jack, get the hell out of here,
bro. I played you in MLB The Show back in like February. I smacked your ass.
I had a bad day. I was playing. I was playing with a bad day.
I was playing with the trash can bangers. Yeah,
and I was like I don't even know who it was, a Rays maybe
like the Mariners or something.
Yeah, listen, horrible. But Eric, before we let you go, because you are a part of the basketball YouTube community, with the quarantine, have you seen a lot of like new and interesting content coming out from these YouTubers? What are they doing to kind of counteract things, kind of get people engaged in the community? That from your video, I learned there was a lot more than I had actually thought there was. Mostly because I just don't watch YouTube. But what has the community kind of been doing to keep up with the NBA?
Yeah, so I mean, to keep up with the NBA, there's not really much going on. These YouTubers are kind of responded because a lot of the YouTubers I analyze the video, they look to go play basketball with their friends or other YouTubers out in the gyms, but obviously they can't do that because those are closed. Some have had some leftover like 1v1s and other content that they've uploaded to kind of keep up with the base and make sure they're keeping in tune with the algorithm. A lot of people have like done like different reaction videos, have made their own top 25 list, because at the end of the day, there's really nothing much they can really else do besides just sit around and quarantine. So a lot of it, they're just trying to like make some comedic moments out of like things that were already made. That's kind of the main gist that they're doing. And, I'm kind of doing the same thing. Like, obviously I made my top 25 list. I also made a basketball, I'm working a couple basketball videos as well from what I filmed back in the winter. So that'll be coming out soon as well. The second Taco Tuesday video, my 5v5 intramural basketball season. Go check that out as well. First game was up. I dropped 20. So I was balling out in that game, proving why I'm on the honorable mentions list. But no, yeah, all jokes aside, you're just trying to find ways to, keep the crowd entertained without basketball to play.
One thing I'm definitely going to be doing, I'm coming out with it on Wednesday, is I have been assigned to create the men's basketball top 5 plays from 2019-2020 Quinnipiac. I should mention the Quinnipiac men's basketball top 5 plays. So I'm dropping that on Wednesday for Q30. So content.
If Rich Kelly's Styles isn't number 1, I don't know what is.
He's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be on there because I put him in the moments one. Like I also did top 5 moments in Quinnipiac athletics, and I that was like number two or 3 moment of the 20 of the entire sports here. So I don't think I can make it a top 5 play. You know what I'm saying? Like Rigoni's buzzer beater, Marfo's block, Falzone's game tying 3 against Manhattan with 10 seconds to go.
There was a really nice lob up. I forgot what game it was against. I want to say it was like Ryder or Fairfield. It was Kelly to Pinckney from like quarter court. It was nasty. Yeah,
I'll have to go find that. Were you at that game?
One of the plays I like. There was a lot of lobs from Kelly to Pinckney, but one play I remember from the start of the season was Matt Belanc had like a insane dunk over like a couple Brown players way early.
Oh, like a Ja Morant, just like
he just cocked his arm back and just put that thing down.
I'll have to go find that. I'll have to go find that.
That's a good play. That's a very good play. Go find that.
Eric, we thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. Be sure to go subscribe to EK Plays on YouTube, and also go follow Eric's show Twitter at @and1WQAQ. Is that what it is?
Yes, sir.
@and1WQAQ.
Oh yeah.
And WQAQ. Go follow.
EK,
Eric.
That's some big things next semester once basketball comes back.
EK, I hate to put you on the spot, but I have one last question for you. I saw it on Bleacher Report last night. Start, sit, cut. MJ, Kareem, Kobe.
Ooh, that's tough.
Throwing them on.
Start, sit, cut. All right, I'm gonna start Kareem. I'm gonna sit Kobe, and I'm gonna cut MJ because I know that MJ is got cut for his high school team, so I know he's gonna come back, work even harder, and get even better than he already was as a legend. He'll be like,
that's not the question. That's not the question. I'm cutting Kareem.
I answered it my own way. All right.
Cut Kareem.
MJ's the GOAT. MJ the GOAT.
The most
Kareem is the leading scorer
shot of all time.
And Michael Jordan, the most unstoppable player of all time.
I would disagree with that.
Kareem might be even more unstoppable. He's 7'1". He's super athletic. He's got an unguardable post hook.
I'm sorry. I'm not arguing with MJ.
To answer legitimately, I'd probably would sit MJ and then just cut Kobe because Kobe at times could be a little bit too much of a ball hog. But that's where I'm going.
All right. Eric, so great to hear from you, man. We'll definitely get you back on the pod before the year wraps up. So have a great rest of your day and stay safe in quarantine. All right, big fella?
Thanks, Mac and Maine. Appreciate it.
Got you, EK.
No problem. We're going to take a short break, get Eric out of here, get Jolo in here. You are listening/watching the Mac and Main Show. Welcome back to the Mac and Main Show podcast, whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, or iTunes. We hope that you guys are staying safe during this stay-at-home order. Jack Main, Steve McAvoy, and below here we've got Q30 President Joe LoGrippo. He is on to talk all things Major League Baseball. This is Joe's first time on the show. We tried to get him on earlier in the year. He said no because he had math homework. He doesn't have that excuse anymore. Plus, we told him that we would work around his schedule. So, Joe, thank you so much for hopping on the Zoom, man. How's things going in quarantine right now?
Thank you, guys, first of all. Been waiting for my second chance to get on the show, so I appreciate it. Quarantine's been all right, staying busy with school and all things Q30 and things like that. So the weather's not looking good today. I lost power for a couple hours. But other than that, I guess it's been all right.
You have the exquisite setup right now with the grand piano in the background. I mean, like, damn, it's putting my Fenway Park and his Tim Tebow to shame right now.
I have to
That's
ask.
come prepared.
I have to ask. Do you play piano?
I can play a little bit, but it's mostly my sister who can play.
Don't be surprised if, like, at the end of this, I might ask you to hop on the.
I know Jack Main can.
Oh no, I can't.
Hey, Jack could play "Obla Di Obla Da" by the Beatles pretty damn well. It's pretty good.
No flexing. But Joe is a writer for SB Nation's Pinstripe Alley, the Yankees blog, so he knows most things New York Yankees. Unfortunately, that kind of stinks for him, but he's in the New York area. We'll give him the pass. So, Joe, the most recent news out of Major League Baseball right now is that they are looking to start up a season that would take place strictly in Arizona. So, what that would look like is that the teams would all live in hotels. There would be no fans at any of the games, and most of the facilities used would be spring training facilities, with the Arizona Diamondbacks playing at their home stadium of Chase Field. So this is going to be a little bit of a hectic. How is this going to work? So we kind of want to get your opinion on the matter. Do you think that Major League Baseball should return in 2020? And if it does, do you think that having every team play in Arizona is a viable option?
Well, obviously, we all want baseball to return this year. We're all looking forward to it, but it has to be definitely safe and appropriate to return. If a major league player were to contract the coronavirus playing and they jumped the gun where they allowed people to get onto the field too early, obviously that'd just be a terrible look. And I think that would confirm that, hey, we're not playing for the rest of the year. So definitely they want to make sure that it's safe to play. Going to the Arizona idea, listen, I've seen a lot of ideas popping out there. It's been definitely had mixed reviews. I saw some players were like, I'm not going to go to Arizona if I can't bring my family and leave them for however long, the season's going to be. So it's definitely an interesting idea. It's everybody in the same state at one time. There's probably going to be double headers in the same stadium. So, but I guess they don't have to clean up or anything, so it would be doable. But then you wonder, so social distancing is 6 feet. So are they going to be in the same dugout together? Like there's a lot of questions that are just like unanswered, I guess.
The other question falls along the lines of they're going to have the spring training fields, they're going to have Chase Field, and then there's also reports they might end up going towards college, community college, Arizona State, other affiliated colleges to play baseball. My biggest concern is the idea of the realignment that's currently going on that they're considering, where because of the Cactus League and the Grapefruit League, they would obviously end up moving all the Grapefruit League teams into Arizona. The Cactus League, I'm pretty sure the alignment would stay relatively the same as what it is already for the divisions. But in the Grapefruit League, they're literally going to make 5-team divisions the whole way through. And I'm looking at it now through the MLB. Personally, as a Mets fan, the Grapefruit League in the East is going to be the Nationals, Astros, Cardinals, Mets, and Marlins. That's horrifying for any team that wants to play out a season where realistically, if you're going to be playing games where there's going to be doubleheaders, it's probably going to be the same setup where you're going to play your teams in your division more often. The Mets having to play against the Cardinals, Astros, and Nationals, 2 teams that were in the World Series, and 1 team that was, I'm pretty sure, a series away. That's terrifying for me, in my opinion. But my biggest question for you, Joe, is with the possible realignment, do you think doubleheaders are going to be not ethical, but are they going to be realistic considering the amount of time pitchers are going to have to be able to play? They're going to only be on 3 days rest, possibly playing the 5th game of a series. How's it going to work? Is it going to be everything's going to be a 4-game series? Where are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so it definitely is going to depend on how long they think the season can be. If it's 75 games, 100 games, 120, whatever they choose, that will definitely impact the amount of doubleheaders that happen. I think we'll definitely see a lot more of the opener strategy where you have a pitcher pitch 1 inning and then a guy pitches 3 innings and, just bullpen the whole way through to give your starters rest. It's definitely going to be harder for pitchers this year if that were the case because they'd just be there all the time. There would probably be an expansion of rosters as well because you need to have a lot of pitchers on staff for this to happen. We'd see minor leaguers getting shots. I know for the Yankees, Davey Garcia is on the brink of the MLB, but he's 20, 21 years old. So is he ready for the MLB? He might just get the call anyway because they need some arms up there.
One thing that I definitely see curious is if they go with this Grapefruit Cactus League realignment, it's that do you do away with the AL-NL thing? And in my opinion, I don't think you can really do that, because then all of a sudden you're taking away opportunity from teams who like in the National League, the Braves compete against the Cardinals and the Nationals, and who's running the NL West right now? The Dodgers. They compete against those teams. And then all of a sudden, if you flip-flop everything and you say, well, the East Coast teams are going to play each other and the West Coast teams are going to play each other, and then they're going to have like a big East Coast, West Coast World Series, that almost defeats, it takes away opportunities. Not to mention AL and NL still have a major, major difference in their play style where the NL has the pitcher bat. So do you think that if there is this realignment that this is the year where we get rid of pitchers hitting and the DH is implemented league-wide?
100%. I think a lot of the changes that the MLB has been wanting to institute will take place this year because this is kind of like a sample season in a way where I think if they wanted to do robot umps this season, I think they could get away with it because is the ump allowed to stand so close to the catcher and batters behind the box? Like these are a lot of these things that they're going to have to figure out. And if they deem that the umpire is not allowed to be close to the catcher and batter, they could go robot ump this year. And I think a lot of changes like the universal DH could be implemented in this like sample season, I guess you could say.
Do you have any possible information or any knowledge from your connections about the way the MLB is going to attack possible free agency and how contracts are going to be restructured if there is no season, how are players going to be played, eligibility terms, anything of that nature?
Right. So we do know that this year will count as a year under contract. So, for instance, I know, Jack, you're probably not going to be happy about this, but well, actually, Jack, you would be happy about this. Sorry. Mookie Betts got traded to the Dodgers. If this season isn't played this year, he's a free agent come 2021. So basically, you can count that as the biggest steal in MLB trade history. So
after I cried on the breakdown desk about that trade.
After you cried on set, right? And then who knows? Imagine the Red Sox sign him back, so they get Jeter Downs, they get Alex Verdugo for nothing. So that would be good for the Red Sox over there. But definitely, yeah, service time will count. From the team perspective, that is not a good thing, obviously, but from the player perspective, it's definitely something that benefits them.
I know that I would obviously be very happy about, getting rid of Mookie Betts and bringing in Jeter and Connor Wong and Alex Verdugo for essentially nothing. But on your side, you have two players on mega deals, not to mention this is going to count as a year of arbitration for Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez, Gleyber Torres, Miguel Andujar, Luis Severino, and I think Chapman just signed a 1-year extension as well. So the Yankees are going to be like, well, shit, we've got Garrett Cole, who now we're just throwing $30 million at for no play. Giancarlo Stanton, who's on the biggest contract in baseball history, no play. And then we're losing a year of Aaron Judge in his prime, Gary Sanchez in his prime. So how do the Yankees go and attack this offseason if there is no play? Because they're going to have to start picking and choosing who they want on their roster moving forward.
Yeah, it definitely, I think, obviously it hurts the Yankees. It hurts every single team contract-wise, but I like to look things in a positive light. A lot of the Yankees were hurt during spring training and were rehabbing and were going to miss the start of the season. I don't know, Stanton was going to miss the start of the season, Judge. You had a lot of these guys who were banged up and weren't going to be ready for opening day. So in a way, it helps them. I know Paxton wasn't going to be ready either. So in a way, a lot of these guys are going to, if the season were to happen, I guess the Yankees would be in a better position than opening day where it was supposed to be in March. But yeah, it definitely stinks team-wise, like I said, for contracts. But players, I know they're definitely, like Judge and Sanchez and guys in arbitration periods, they're definitely itching towards free agency or, out of their arbitration years to get a contract extension.
Steve,
on the show, just in the first half hour. Sorry, my internet has been absolutely horrible, so I apologize.
Yeah, you lagged out. I thought you were talking. I didn't know what was happening.
No, it's all good. So we had Eric Kerr on in the first half hour to talk about what the NBA is doing with the 2K tournament. I haven't heard a lot of information in the MLB, but there's talks they're doing a MLB The Show tournament. Do you have any info on what MLB players and I know they've been posting videos. Marcus Stroman's doing his workouts on a pier in Florida. But what info do you have about players, what they're doing to kind of take on the quarantine, get people still engaged with the game, and build their marketability and their fandom, like Trevor Bauer has been arguing about for years? But what info do you have on that?
Yes, about 2 to 3 days ago, the MLB started on their YouTube channel an MLB Show tournament. So every player, they got one player from every single team to represent their team and play in a MLB The Show tournament. So I know the Yankees had Tommy Kahnle represent them. I know the Rays had Blake Snell. So there are a lot of big names out in this tournament. And I think it was a good way to, kind of put a light on the situation where, you could have fans interact and still root for their team in a virtual way. So it was definitely a good idea by MLB and, a step forward, I guess, in their marketing plans.
I know that if you follow MLB on Twitter, you saw Fernando Tatis's highlights of him playing. I mean, that guy is just electric when he hits a home run. He like sits back and his legs go in the air. That's the kind of thing we love to see. We love to see these personalities come out. And do you think that? I think this is so on from my observations that the baseball community is coming closer as a whole because we're all in this situation together.
Yeah, it definitely is bringing the baseball community together. But touching on Fernando Tatis for a second, that stuff we love to see. We love to see passion in the game. I think that could definitely draw the community even closer together and attract younger fans. I know the older fans aren't too keen of the idea of flipping your bat and talking around the bases, but in order for the game to grow, I think it needs to change a little bit, and passion is a way to, show the players love for the game so they're not robots all the time. But yeah, it's definitely bringing the community together. I think we're all in it, and I think we've all put rivalries aside for a second. We're all just, like we're doing right now, talking baseball and just hoping for the best for the season to start as soon as possible.
You were talking about rivalries, and I thought this was an interesting concept because of the fact now that if the realignment happens and things start to go a certain way, the Yankees and the Mets will be relatively close in terms of playing each other. Possibly even the Red Sox will be in that mist where the Mets will only really play 4 games against the Yankees in a 2-game set, a home and home, and then the Red Sox, I think they played them a couple of years ago for the first time in like 9 years or something crazy. From a fan of the Yankees, me being a Mets fan, Jack being a Red Sox fan, how do you think this is going to affect just the general Northeast, where we might see teams like the Red Sox and the Mets and the Yankees playing a lot more often than we're used to?
I think it's a good thing if we see, a mixture of teams play when you're not used to it. It will be different. It will be a little odd. Obviously, not seeing the Yankees and Red Sox play 19 times a season will I don't want to say reduce the rivalry because I think it'll always be there and living, but it won't be the same. If the Yankees get to see, a National League opponent that they don't normally see, I guess that's pretty exciting to definitely, see new faces on the other side of the field rather than seeing the same teams every single year. But it will definitely change the dynamic. It will have its negatives and it will have its positives, but hopefully the positives will outweigh the negatives.
So I have two questions relating to baseball here. I asked Jacob the same thing. So Houston was obviously in this boiling pot of hot water. If you remember the beginning of spring training, it feels like forever ago, but they, Altuve and Bregman stood up there on the podium next to Jim Crane, and they gave the crappiest apologies any of us have ever heard. You and I both lost potential World Series championships to the Houston Astros in the same playoffs, bracket. So, do you think that this layoff is kind of helping the air blow over, or do you think that they're still going to be hot moving? Things are still going to be hot when play does resume.
There's probably one thing on the entire planet that could have taken away the attention that the Astros had on themselves, and it would be a pandemic. So definitely the Astros lucked out right there. It's crazy because a lot of people forgot about the Astros and what's going on with them because of the pandemic we're in right now. I think when baseball resumes, and it's funny because if they don't play with fans, they'll even get away with it for this full season of no heckling, and it definitely will help them out. They don't have to deal with people.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's just going to blow over. But I want to see the heat. I want to see I want to see Garrett Cole. Well, he wouldn't do it because he was on the Astros. I want to see Luis Severino go and bean Bregman in the head, and I want to see Paxton go and smack Altuve. I want to see that. I'm not going to see it because it's just blowing over.
I had tickets to the first game between the Astros and the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. I was ready for it. And I'm not even a Yankees fan. I was just ready to see some beanballs, and I am mightily upset.
We knew that was coming. The
fact that the hardest beanball thrown at an Astros player was from a double-A pitcher on the Cardinals is embarrassing, in my opinion. But that's just me.
Anyway, sorry to cut you off, Joe. What were you saying?
All right, no, I definitely agree that it would have been a cool atmosphere to see, definitely entertaining to see a Yankees Astros. Obviously, I wouldn't be rooting for anybody to get hurt, but 99 to the ribs might send a message without serious injury. So that it would be cool to see Chapman locking down a save and striking out Altuve for the final out, getting a little revenge there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that baseball fans will forget about it come 2021. Hopefully a season in 2021. Hopefully a season in 2020. I don't think fans will forget about it. I doubt we'll see fans at games this year. Hopefully I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. But this is something that, has a major impact on the game of baseball. It was a bad look for baseball. But if and when fans get to see the Astros in person again, I think they'll still get, their fair share of criticism.
Altuve.
And going off what Steven said before, the Yankees and Astros, their first home game was like in September. It was supposed to be against the Astros, and Yankee fans weren't going to wait that long. So I know the Mets had a game against the Astros in the summer, and a lot of Yankee fans were going to, wear their pinstripes to Citi Field and get in on the action a little bit earlier than September.
The one time you'll ever see Yankees and Mets fans get along is when you can collect for the Astros. It's like when the Mets went to Fenway Park and booed the Yankees.
And they all chanted "Yankees suck."
Good times. So Joe, we've asked a lot of folks on the show, but obviously we haven't had you on yet. Do you think that the commissioner's office did a good job in sanctioning the Astros? I know it's an old topic, but I want to hear your take on it because we're discussing them. Do you think that that enough was done, not too much, or there should have been a lot more? What are your thoughts?
It's definitely a tough situation. I'm thankful I'm not Rob Manfred because I don't think whichever way he went would satisfy people, whether or not it would be the Astros, whether it be the MLB Players Association, whether it be the fans. At first I thought, okay, this is a pretty good punishment, but as time went on and I saw that, a manager really doesn't have much of an impact in today's game. How much did AJ Hinch matter to the Astros organization? Maybe, I don't know. Then you look at the GM, I guess definitely losing Jeff Lunau hurts because he was obviously good at developing talent and attracting free agents and stuff like that. So $5 million fine, I guess that's the most they're allowed to give out to a team. I don't know. Are those, things, is that big of a punishment? I don't know. At first I thought so, but as time went on, I wasn't sure because I'm not sure that those punishments are going to have a major impact on their season this year. I think they could still win 100 games if we were playing a full season. I guess my final answer would be it's hard. It's hard to suspend players. You don't know who participated in the most, who participated in the least. You can't suspend the whole team. What are you going to do if you suspend the whole team? You're not going to have an Astros next year. So I don't know. Maybe they could have done a little more player-driven penalties, maybe fine the players a little bit, but it's definitely a tough situation. And I'm not sure Rob Manfred could have had a positive reaction any way he went.
Do you think there's sorry, Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, one thing that Lake Monster manager Rick Magante said when we had him on the show was that he thought Jim Crane knew about this thing from the get-go, and that when he fired A.J. Hinch and Jeff Lunhow after they were suspended by Major League Baseball, it was just a save-face move. It wasn't really like, the investigation showed that A.J. Hinch actually destroyed the monitors so that the players couldn't do the situation. They ended up setting the whole thing back up again and doing it, and AJ didn't do anything to stop it at that point. But do you think that would it be worthy to strip the Astros of their 2017 title and just say no champion in 2017? Do you think that stripping Altuve of his 2017 AL MVP and maybe awarding it to Aaron Judge would have kind of let this whole thing go on the wayside here?
Yeah, I definitely think that the fans wanted the title stripped and maybe the MVP stripped by Altuve. But one thing's for sure, you're not going to take away the experience that the Astros had. They're still going to have the moment of we won the World Series and that joy, whether or not it was legit. The
video footage was there. We watched it live. We watched them party at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, and you wonder, if you were to take it away, would they realize the impact more? And I'm not obviously accusing any other team of doing this, but harsher penalties would definitely secure making sure that no other team, if they had a system like this in place, stopped it immediately. The harsher penalties, I think, would definitely put a halt to any cheating going on in the technology side in baseball, because you think about it, I do think that the higher ups knew about what was going on. I think it's impossible to keep it away from the higher ups. And if they see that the penalty was that you're going to get fired and you're going to get banned from baseball and your reputation is going to be, destroyed, I think that would have worked.
Because of the pandemic, obviously this has been the whole topic is the Astros are kind of flying now almost under the radar. Do you think there's a possibility for Rob Manfred to extend penalties into next year, assuming there might not even be a season where Alex Cora and AJ Hinch got not Alex Cora but AJ Hinch got his 1 year suspension. Now, by the end of the year, it'll be up. Do you think they might expand it further because of the fact that there was no season, or will it just comply with what we've been talking about, where the year of eligibility still counts for this year and so on and so forth?
Yeah, I think they're going to take that approach. I know Rob Manfred was asked this question. He kind of hinted that, yeah, the suspension and ban counts for right now. It's not going to count for 2021. So whether or not we have a season this year, I think Lunau and Hinch are going to be serving their suspensions this year, and it's not going to carry over to next year. But I do think that their reputations are tarnished a lot, and I'm not sure if any teams are going to be willing to even hire either one of them, because that will create a distraction right away.
Mm-hmm. I think one thing that those guys, and AJ Hinch in particular, I think that what they are going to have to do is that they're going to have to start from the bottom and then work their way to the top again. Because now that they're gone, there are minor league managers and minor league general managers who are looking to work their way up the ranks. And if they have the opportunity to say, well, AJ Hinch was fired, there's no way that we want to let him go back into the major league system when we know that there's other guys that are more deserving of that spot. Maybe you say, all right, AJ, you start in spring training camp and maybe you can earn a job with a single A team. And then from there, you start to work your way up slowly. I think that's probably the best chance for him to get back into Major League Baseball, professional baseball as a whole, if he wanted to.
Yeah, I think that could be a way that he works out. I personally think that he'll be out of baseball for a long time. I don't think this is going to be something that he'll be right back into. He might be, black belt forever for what he did and for what he partook in with the Astros. So he could work his way up from the minors. I'm not sure if people are willing to, hire somebody who disgraced the game for a year or longer. So, and it would definitely become a distraction that teams don't need. And I don't think it's a necessity to have AJ Hinch in your locker room, I guess. Yeah.
So Joe, so coming up in, I believe it's late May or early June, will be the MLB draft, and it's rapidly approaching. There's still the concerns of social distancing, although for you and I in New York, it's kind of plateaued. So hopefully things will be back to normal in that case. What news do you have on the draft of doing it via Zoom? The NFL has their draft coming up as well. That they're going fully virtual, but the fact that the MLB draft will be in June, it's kind of allowing a little more time. Are they going to go fully virtual? Or are they still going to have the traditional draft style? Or what news do you have in that realm?
I think it's definitely going to be virtual. I don't think a lot of in-person things are going to happen right away. We're seeing with the NFL. I know that's a lot quicker, but I know the NFL is doing it virtually as well, where Roger Goodell is going to be announcing from his house through a camera. So the MLB draft, I think there were rumors that they were going to cut rounds off of the MLB draft.
Yeah, they were going to make it like 5 rounds or something crazy like that.
Yeah, and that's obviously going to be a real bad thing because a lot of people are not going to get their shot in the league. The MLB draft doesn't work like the NFL does. You can be drafted in the 76th round, whatever. You can be drafted wherever and, be an all-star when you come up to the majors. So it's definitely going to cut a lot of people's opportunities off, and it's definitely not a good thing for the game of baseball that the draft is going to work out that way.
Well, I think that this 5-round draft is going to be a one-time thing because, as you know, all NCAA spring athletes were granted an extra year of eligibility, so we know that they have the option to return to school for their junior and senior seasons and get that opportunity to get those stats back. So having a short draft this year, I think, is going to give give those athletes more of an opportunity to return to school so that they can get those seasons back. And we talked about it with Jacob. He covers the Quinnipiac baseball team for Q30. So we asked him, we were like, damn, like what's going to happen then? Like, are the freshman recruits that are going to be in for the class of 2024, I believe it is, are they going to come in and are they going to have to wait a year to play because of the seniors that are going to come back for that extra year of eligibility looking to be drafted in 2021 and as opposed to if they would have been drafted in 2020?
Yeah, the college baseball situation in college athletics in general is going to be interesting because I'm not sure if they are granted an extra year of eligibility, are the coaches going to allow them to play? Like, I'm sure it's going to differ by coach because you're going to have people that are, I guess, in their 5th year of college now. It would be that they're still granted eligibility. And you're going to have freshmen and you're going to have people that are trying to make the team. And if you're starting seniors who are not even supposed to be on the team, is that going to hurt the growth and development of your team if you're starting people who aren't going to be on the team next year? Would it be better to get reps from people who are legitimately in their senior year because they're not going to get another year? So let's say a 5th year senior is starting over someone who's a legitimate senior. Now they're losing playing time for something that wasn't either of their fault. So it's definitely a sticky situation, and I think it's going to depend on what the coaches decide and what the management decides differ by school.
Especially looking at it from just our lens as Quinnipiac students, where last year the team made the regional of the College World Series and beat ECU, and a lot of that was led by players who would have been seniors this year, and then a few students who graduated. So especially just looking at it from that end, where they're going to bring in 9 or 10 freshmen, how are you looking at it from players like Andre Marrero, who was possibly going to even get drafted? There was thoughts about it being super late in the draft, but now we're kind of looking at it from development-wise, and Joe, you hit it absolutely on the head, but I want to shift away for a hot second because we have to let you go soon. I asked Eric this in the NBA lens. We did a start, cut, and sit. I want to do the same thing with you, but for players, one player from each of our 3 teams. So as a Mets, Yankees, and Red Sox show for the day, I want you are in a situation, bottom of the 9th, you're down by a run, you got a man on second base. You can either tie the game with a double or a single, or you can end it with a homer. And you have to start one of these guys, have one of them off the bench possibly, or just have one of them outright in general. Are you going to go with the Red Sox's Andrew Benintendi, the Yankees Giancarlo Stanton, or the Mets Pete Alonso?
I already know who he's cutting.
Wow, that's a good one.
Well, watch out.
He's cutting, but you cut Benintendi. Obviously, you cut Benintendi. He's the worst player of the 3.
I would cut Stanton, dude.
Hell no, I'm not.
Has better off to strike out than anything else. Sorry, Joe.
This is Joe. This is for Joe.
Listen, it's a situation. They're all 3 really good players, and all 3 are somebody that you want to have on your team. See, I'm judging between Stanton's. Like, obviously, I'm a big Yankee fan. I watch Stanton, and I really haven't seen him come up in the clutch too much lately in the 2 years he's been with the squad. Pete Alonso's also played for 1 season, so it's a small sample size, but we obviously see the potential building there. I think I'm definitely going to cut Benintendi.
Bro, I called that. Like, we all knew that was coming. Benintendi has one of the best averages RISP, though. He hits like 350 runner with runners in scoring positions. So,
yeah, I know, but I think that could be
I know.
luck based in a way that he was put up in that position, that he came to the plate with runners on second and third, whatever.
Well,
I mean, he bet second, so like
I'm just throwing sliders long way to stand.
Listen, I'm going to go with Stanton just for track record. I know that's probably like a hot take in your guys' view, and I'm going to put Alonso on the bench. Listen, Stanton is elite. I don't care what you say. I know we've had this discussion on Twitter before. We've gone back and forth, but I think Stanton is elite, and just because he was injured doesn't take that away from him. Obviously, give me another year of Pete Alonso, and he could be my starter in this situation.
I think I'm gonna go with Pete Alonso at the dish.
Absolutely.
I think he gives me the best all-around option. Like man led the league in homers last year and still hit like 370 or 270. He's only going to get better.
370. Imagine that stuff.
Yes,
No,
imagine.
look. Just to defend myself, the reason why I chose the 3 was because of Benintendi's runners in scoring position average, Alonso's overall ability where he can hit to every part of the yard, and then Stanton where it's, in my opinion, it's a home run or bust. The guy can strike out. The guy struck out the most in his career in the last 2 years with the Yankees. So there's a lot of potential for a great moment, but also, again, him in the clutch. So believe me, these were all strategically picked for a reason. I was pondering JD Martinez, and then I was like, same kind of thing as Stan. And then I was like Aaron Judge, but then like Aaron Judge would be the obvious choice in my opinion.
Yeah, I think if you give me the choice between Stanton, Alonso, and JD Martinez, I'm putting JD Martinez in the box. Guy hits 40 homers, hits 330, drives in 140 runs a year. Like, I'm sorry, like I'm taking JD Martinez in that situation.
Look, I had backup options. My backups were Martinez, Judge, and for the Mets, I wanted to say McNeil just because he's more of a clutch hitter. But again, that's more of an obvious choice to cut just because he doesn't have the home run potential necessarily.
JD Martinez would have won the Triple Crown in 2018 if Mookie Betts didn't hit 350.
All right.
I think that McNeil has the potential to be one of the better players on the Mets. This even better than Alonso potentially.
Oh, absolutely. Like he was leading the NL in batting for until September when
he was.
At that point, he went like over 24 and just fell off at that point. But he still finished like third behind Christian Yelich, who had Christian Yelich been healthy, would have had possibly one of the best seasons in MLB history. The guy was already going off coming into September, but that's just me.
Joe LoGrippo, it is so great to see you, man. The president of Quinnipiac Television. Go give him a follow on Twitter. You plug your social, Joe, because I don't know it off the top of my head.
Joe_LoGrippo.
Joe_LoGrippo. He writes for Pinstripe Alley, the SB Nation. What are you saying?
What
are you saying? You're saying something?
I said be sure to check out his radio show as well with Jacob Resnick, who we had on last week. I believe it's at Crosstown Rivals.
Yes.
Awesome show. Unfortunately, it didn't have a lot of opportunity to kind of pick itself up because of the quarantine, but
it's coming back though. It's coming back.
A lot of opportunity.
Crosstown Rivals will be back, folks. We hope to get you and Jacob on here at the same time at some point in the near future because we were really hoping to get you guys more involved with WQAQ, and we're so glad that you guys have a radio show together. We are so glad that you are going to be the new president of Q30. Has that sunk into you at all? Like, have you like gotten used to people calling you President Joe LoGrippo?
No, it hasn't sunk in yet.
El Presidente?
El Prez. He's got to change his Twitter handle to Q Prez.
All right, Joe. I told you I would ask you it. Could you possibly play some piano for us?
Embarrass myself.
You don't have to.
That's okay.
I'll open the door for it.
This is the Mac and Main show. We're sports. Joe doesn't have to play piano here.
I'll stick to my sports reputation.
We are men of many talents, I will have you know.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into the Mac and Main show. Be sure to go follow us on Twitter at Mac and Main. Like us on Facebook. Go check us out on iTunes, Spotify, Shout Engine, and YouTube. We're still working on getting our episodes posted to YouTube. It will happen, but the internet bandwidth at the Main household is taken up a lot by Zoom classes for a lot of people.
Or because you live in Vermont and you have like no internet.
Internet is fine here. It's just that my brother's on Zoom, my mom has her stuff on Zoom, and my dad has calls on Zoom. Zoom takes up bandwidth. Whatever, Steve. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Next week, we'll have Pat Pitts on, and we are talking about the NFL draft. You are watching the Mac and Main Show.